Some of the organizations that are here today. So I've got here the Southeast Hindu Association, who's hosting the event today for us, locally known as the Ram Mandir, Greenwich Hindu Mandir, also known as the Krishna Mandir. So we've got lots of mandirs with more than one name. Hindu Swayam Sevak Sangh UK, Hindu Sevika Samiti, Seva UK, Seva for You, Arunavati Tamil School, National Students Forum UK, Early Years from Bharat, and the Local Lions Club. So a special thank you for you to attend today. Just say Namaste, Walaikum, and good afternoon. So just reflect back and think about what else you can do for the local community, local society. But as I said, before you can move forward, you need to reflect back on what has been achieved so far. So I'm going to just give a brief history of what we've achieved in the Hindu Youth Association, or HYA as it's. So going by, who's sitting here, and Hirjibai, who started Gujarati classes from their living rooms to local students and family members. It was their vision and dedication, perseverance and commitment, along with almost 150 volunteers over the years, that HYA is the organisation it is today. I feel a great sense of pride when I see volunteers with qualities needed stepping up to key roles on the committee. So it's getting ready for us to retire. You know, we've got very good people waiting to take over, and they've got their own inspirations and their own visions of how they want to see the organisation develop over the years. Along the way, we introduced Hinduism, English, maths, yoga, toddlers group, and we call it a toddlers group. A lot of people have heard of mother or parents or mother and toddler groups. We call it a toddlers group because a lot of mothers actually spend some quality time with their child at that event. So we've actually got fathers who bring their young children there as well. So, which is quite unique in a lot of places. Some of you may also remember we had Taekwondo classes. We had 2 black belts come out of that. We had Sanskrit classes running for a few years. And we'll hear from some of the people that started these classes, what inspired them, a bit later on today. Intertwined with these classes, HYA didn't forget to have fun. So we had organised trips to Paris, Holland, Bruges. We visited the Scandervale Temple in Wales. We celebrated Ganesh Chaturthi in Southend, and performing yoga in the playground of our local secondary school. Some of you may have seen some of the photos on our Facebook pages. This was followed by Shishu Sammelan, or more commonly known as the Fun Day for the children, where over 200 children under the age of 16 enjoyed an afternoon of fun away from lessons. I have to say, I also observed a lot of parents having a lot of fun and getting involved and playing the games that we did as children ourselves, but we forget that we need some time to enjoy as well. That was then followed in October by our annual function, and I see most of you, at least many of you were there at the end of October, where we had almost 450 people attend. That day was a special focus for the volunteers, because we know that without the volunteers we wouldn't be where we are today. And these volunteers are not paid teachers. They're all given their time free of charge, to the extent that we don't even pay for their travel subsistence, pay expenses. They provide this themselves. So it was just to recognize that.
Đỡ dầu đâu.
So I would like to call upon Kushmi and Gavin to introduce what HYA is and the achievements that HYA has attained over 40 years. Gavin and Kushmi are both former students of HYA who have become HYA volunteers now. Although both study away from home, but backbone. They always make time to help.
Let's start off with what Hindu Youth Association is. So, as Navamit mentioned, it is a non-profit organisation that is run by volunteers that aim to support the future of tomorrow. And we provide a variety of activities, and the main ones that we like to focus on are Hinduism, Gujarati, yoga sessions, which are for all, and Purna Vidya, which we have in our Saturday classes as well. We also do maths and English. And in the last 40 years, the HYA has become a vibrant community hub in the local community. So I'm going to ask Gebo to do just about the achievements that we have had today.
Thank you very much. We've already heard in Gandhaved's address about the long history of HYA across the past 40 years. But what has HYA actually achieved, both tangible and intangible? So one of the first things that always springs to mind is that HYA was recognised for being one of the first supplementary schools in the London Borough of Greenwich to receive a gold award in the quality framework for supplementary schools. This was a big achievement, and we received that in 2010. HYA was also the recipient of a GAVS Award for the contribution it makes to young people in society. As Roshni has just mentioned, one of the biggest aims for this organisation is to support the future of tomorrow. And I think that award went a long way to ensuring that we are doing what we set out to do in the first place. Throughout the 40 years, we've had many professional teachers come and go. So we've had people teach at HYA and then build their own careers in teaching. But not only that, we've had an expansion of careers, people becoming architects, doctors, and accountants, and really making a positive contribution to society. Currently, HYA has more than 150 students, which I'm sure if we asked Government and HYA, they wouldn't have imagined that when they were teaching in their living rooms all those years ago. And finally, I think this is the one that sticks with me the most, is that HYA doesn't actually have any paid volunteers. Everyone that volunteers for the organisation does it because they want to make an impact and because they want to have that effect on the Samaj.
So, in conclusion, as we can tell, is as bright as what we have now. So let's just do it for the next generation instead.
So we will now be moving on to today's program, which is I2E. Now, what do I mean when I say I2E? I2E is a process of seva, from I as an individual moving to we as an organisation. For this, Rajesh will be interviewing our 5 panelists about HYA and seva. So, Rajesh, please come forward. I request our first interviewee, Govinda Savani, to come forward, who is one of the founders of this organisation and who is currently teaching Gujarati.
Govinda, you are one of the founders of HYA all the way back 40 years ago. And you started this HYA community by actually just teaching your nieces and nephews in your home. And over the 40 years, you're still a teacher, which in itself is a great achievement. Doing seva and teaching over 40 years continuously is a great achievement on its own. In your book, in your interview, it says that your inspiration comes from your mother, who was a teacher herself back home, and also Sang and Shaka. In turn, what you've done is you've inspired many youth of today to not only serve the Samaj, but also to actually teach. Now, it's very difficult in this day and age to actually inspire someone to teach a subject like Gujarati, because I understand Gujarati is your passion, and you've truly inspired the youngsters today to even not only just learning, you'll see Kantibai and Kanjibai, they've all been your students, and look at what they're doing today. And also the younger generation, we've got Manisha, we've got Kevin, and they're actually teachers of Gujarati in this day and age. How did you manage to actually inspire the youngsters to teach Gujarati these days?
I don't think it was very difficult because the structure itself of the teaching and Hindu youth association of the teachers is like a family. In a family, parents does all the things for their children, and they never ask for any return or anything like that. So same way in our Hindu youth association, structure is like that. So that way, all the teachers, their behavior, their character, their love for the children, it's like as a parents. So that way, all the students inspire. And also the teaching includes culture, our religion. We go back to our root in India, all the great people of India, science, women science, everything. So we teach them about all those heroes and great people. So by telling them the stories about the great people, they automatically inspire. Another thing, in our Hindu Youth Association, there are all the volunteers, maths, English, Gujarati, wherever. They all working hard, giving their time, and their behavior, their character itself inspires everyone. So when the students are there, they also wanted to do something when they grow up. Sometimes the students ask, can we teach? Can we teach? Itself is like kind of self-happiness. And also many students, when we talk about where would you like to go to holiday, they will say, oh, I want to go to India. When we go outside, some other children, they say, no, I don't want to go to India, I want to go to America, I want to go to France, something like that. But they say, when they say, I want to go to India, itself is it means they already inspired to visit our roots. Okay. So I think it's great, and everyone helps each other. The environment whole thing is self-interest.
Okay, so I sense that you don't just teach Gujarati, Marathi, and Kannada. You actually teach our culture as well as Gujarati, and that's what's inspiring the youngsters these days to actually take up not just Gujarati but teach Gujarati as well. Now you and HYA started Gujarati classes 40 years ago, and it's been continuing for 40 years. But do you see in these youngsters these days, do you see any signs that you feel you get comfort that this legacy will continue for the next 40 years? Do you see anything like that?
Yes, definitely. Because over the years, we never been really struggling to get more volunteers. Everybody wants to. Many people there wants to come and teach. And there are many our young parents, our mothers, they would like to help. So like today that we are cooking and everything. It's not just one. In a year there are many camps. There are this kind of programs we do, and everybody eats afterwards. And they come and they cook. Sometimes they cook at their home as well. So I think it was a great future. And even now at present, there are new youngsters born and brought up in this country, and their first language is English. And still they come, they take the classes, and they teach. And sometimes I get inspired by them, because their way of teaching is totally different. They use new technology and everything. So when we started, we never had all this. We never knew how to use it. But now they use all this. So I think the future is very good. And sometimes people get frustrated in what will happen after this 20 years. So I think it's a very good future. About 20-25 years ago, somebody told me after 10 years you have to close this Gujarati class because nobody will come.
Yeah.
But look at this now. Not only here, all over UK or London, there are many classes are happening. So I think the future is great, and it will be even better than today.
Okay, that's very promising. I understand totally. You are totally passionate about Gujarati because it's our mother Bhasha. And just inspiration aside, why do you think mother Bhasha is really important in this day and age in our modern world?
I think our own language, which our mother language, can be Gujarati, Hindi, Punjabi, whatever is our Indian languages. So we have to understand our culture, our past, our history, our heritage. We must know our own language. Only through our own language we can learn, we get inspired, and then we can go, we can go further. So all the children in this country, they must know their own language, and which is any Indian language, can be any Indian language. So through that we can understand our past. Our ancestors, we born and brought up here, this is our country.
Yes.
But our root is Bharat. And to understand that, like Sanskrit is everyone's like mother tongue. To understand anything about Bharat, the Sanskrit is the main language, but we don't get opportunity to learn Sanskrit maybe. But our own language we can do. We have read literature, poems, novels, history, so many things. So only through our language.
Okay, thank you for that. What I see from Gujarati classes these days, my own children attend your classes. We have many youngsters teaching Gujarati. And again, like you mentioned, the technology and all the modern ways of teaching, they are utilized by all these teachers. But at the end of the day, you are still the guide to these teachers. How do you adapt? 40 years is a long time ago. And the technology and the way of people thinking these days is very different. How have you managed to adapt and not be like the old school, you have to do this way? Because I know you have adapted to all the changes, but still maintaining our culture. The core thing that you maintain is you need to learn Gujarati. And you have actually quite inspiringly maintained that, and I can see that from my own children. So how have you actually adapted that? It's not easy to adapt to the changes these days, but how have you managed to actually adapt?
It's when we run the classes or head of the classes, something there, not only in Gujarati, but in English and in math, they never think themselves that they are head. And they never force anybody what to do and how to do. When the new teachers or youngsters, when they come up, they already know the basic and how we running the classes. They already gone through as a student. So they, even the young mind, they are watching, they observing everything, and that way they come with a new idea, and they are totally like kind of independent. They have freedom to whatever the way they want to teach them. So that way, I think easily they end up getting. And even myself, I didn't have any problem in what way they do it. As long as they're teaching the kids are doing it, they are learning, and that's what it counts. Doesn't matter whether it's old idea or new idea. It's we give them full freedom to use any ideas, and then just give them platform and give them opportunity of serving the community.
Okay, so I understand that. So you're looking at the key focus of the end aim rather than how to get to the end aim. Okay, thank you very much. Go in by Sawani, everybody. Namaste, Kantabe.
Namaste.
So, like Dila said, you currently teach English. But you actually started just by helping the neighbors and the local children with their homework. And it developed all from that. And look at where we are now. I understand you actually wanted to be a teacher, but you didn't proceed with the qualification.
That's right. I still remember my conversation with the careers lady. Do you remember? I don't know if you still have them now, but you used to talk about what career did you want to go to, so that you could select your second, the subjects in year 10 and 11, I think it's now. And my conversation was, I want to be a teacher. But of course, my life path took me in a different direction.
It did indeed. But look at this, you have actually fulfilled your dream of teaching, but not only fulfilled your dream, you're doing seva at the same time. That is actually quite remarkable, that you achieved your dream, but you're also serving the community. It doesn't really happen to a lot of people. So that's quite a great achievement. You must be feeling, okay, you got your dream achieved, but you're doing seva. I'm sure you don't even think about the seva. But also, you're a magistrate at the moment. You're a single mother, and you're a full-time professional. Now, I've seen you, and many people in the town and in the society, they've seen you actually use your expertise to serve the Samaj in many ways, not just teaching. Teaching is just one, because you actually help them in many ways. Be it filling forms advice. You've used your expertise to actually help the Samaj, and you've been beneficial to the Samaj, right? Now, there are quite a lot of people, maybe in this crowd, but definitely in the society, in the community, who have like really great expertise. But what's happening is that expertise is not being utilized to actually be beneficial to the Samaj. It's beneficial to them in their career, to their business, to their employers, but the expertise is not actually being beneficial to the Samaj, which I have seen, and a lot of people in the community have seen that your expertise has been beneficial to the Samaj. Is there any advice that you can give to these people such that their expertise can actually be beneficial to the Samaj?
I'm going to start a question with a question. What do we mean by Samaj? Most of us, when we think about Samaj, we think about our association, our mandir, our gam, our village, our local community or local neighbour community. For me, Samaj is the wider society. So it's not just the people here, but it's village, it's London, it's UK, it's India. That is the Samaj I'm talking about. For me, everyone is one big family. So that's my view of what Samaj is. If I restricted myself, then I would have achieved everything that I have. I think. So that's on the Samaj. On expertise, what I say is swap expertise with skills and knowledge. Yeah, people aren't always experts in things, but we all have skills and knowledge that we can transfer into other areas. Okay. So for instance, I'm writing reports, writing letters every day as part of my job. Now that is doing English. I'm not English qualified. I actually left school with no English GCSEs or O-levels in those days, but I'm writing reports at work. And those are being passed on to quite senior people. So it's the English I'm able to provide. I can now transfer that skill. I may not have the qualification, but I've got the skills and the knowledge to be able to teach the younger people at school. Organisational skills. We were organising things at work. This event involved organising. Yes, it wasn't me, it's a team, but we work as a team. So it's all about thinking about what your skills are, what your knowledge is, and how you can transfer it in a different environment.
Okay. All right. So are you saying that just recognize where your
strengths lie?
Strengths and your skills and knowledge, not just expertise, your skills and knowledge. Okay. And then what would you do? Do you then look at what organization needs your skill and then encourage them?
It's not just so much what organisation needs my skills, it's what is my interest. It's no point if I've got a skill in accountancy, but I'm doing it just because it's a job and it's paying the bills. To be a volunteer, to do seva, I think you need to do something that you enjoy doing and you want to do. You get some sort of fulfillment out of it. So that's what I've done, is think about what you enjoy doing, and then think about, okay, how do I fulfill that? Who do I need to approach? Is there organisations locally that maybe could benefit from my skills? It may not be local, it may be a bit further out, but with the advent of internet, you can still provide seva, provide volunteer, provide your services, even from your living room, to an organisation that might be a bit further away. So it's worth considering, because particularly for the younger generation. It doesn't have to be here in Woolwich. Yes, we'd love you to do it, especially in HYA, we'd love you to be here. But if that's not for you, think about where else you could do. I mean, I was extremely proud when the Samiti did Diwali boxes for the homeless, and we went out to Waterloo, Charing Cross.
Okay.
That's so much work. Yeah?
Okay. It's interesting that you say if you recognize your strengths and your skills, and then try and find an organization where they will benefit with your skills. But most of these especially the local organizations in many areas, they're very close-knit, they're very close, and it's a small group, they know each other, and they're already in existence. So as a new person, someone would feel, I'm a newbie, how will I fit in, should I approach them? I want to help, but look, they're already so they know each other. How do you overcome that feeling to make the first step to actually contact the organization?
I think for people, my advice would be, find somebody that you're comfortable talking with, somebody who's already doing something, and speak to them, and then you'll be able to find advice. They may not have the answer, but they may know somebody else organisation, an umbrella body that looks after the voluntary organisations in that borough. So there's the point of that way. So you can go to them and say, look, I'm interested in this, can you give me a list of organisations? And it's just a matter of sometimes just picking up the phone, tapping that email as an introduction, saying I want to do it. And I'll give you an example. The benefits of volunteering as well in your career is my own son. He did his degree in business administration. Didn't enjoy that work. Wanted to go into IT. But when you, most of you all know, when you apply for that first job, where's your experience? He couldn't get the experience without a job. So it's a vicious circle. So he actually approached somebody who he knew worked in HR in a local charity, and she was able to give them some time to do some voluntary work in their IT department, free of charge, and that gave him the experience. So it's, think about it, it does give you a wider benefits as well.
Okay, all right. Well, that's actually very insightful. Thank you very much. Kanta Benhiji.
सेवा है यज्ञ कुंड सेवा है यज्ञ कुंड समिधा सम हम चले समिधा सम हम चले ध्येय महासागर में सरित रूप हम मिले सरित रूप हम मिले लोक योग क्षेम ही लोक योग क्षेम ही राष्ट्र अभय दान है राष्ट्र सेवारत व्यक्ति व्यक्ति सेवारत व्यक्ति व्यक्ति कार्य का ही प्राण है कार्य का ही प्राण है सेवा है यज्ञ कुंड सेवा है यज्ञ कुंड समिधा सम हम जले समिधा सम हम जले ऊंच नीच भेद भूल ऊंच नीच भेद भूल एक हम सभी रहे एक हम सभी रहे सहज बंधु भाव हो सहज बंधु भाव हो राग द्वेष ना रहे राग द्वेष ना रहे सर्वधिक प्रकाश हो सर्वधिक प्रकाश हो ज्ञान दीप बाल दो ज्ञान दीप बाल दो चरण शिखर दृढ़ बढ़े चरण शिखर दृढ़ बढ़े ध्येय शिखर हम चढ़े सेवा है यज्ञ कुंड सेवा है यज्ञ कुंड समिधा सम हम जले समिधा सम हम जले मुस्कुराते खिल उठे मुस्कुराते खिल उठे मुकुल बात बात में मुकुल बात बात में लहर लहर सम उठे लहर लहर सम उठे हर प्रभात घात में हर प्रभात घात में स्तुति निंदा लाभ लोभ स्तुति निंदा लाभ लोभ यश विरक्ति चाह से यश विरक्ति चाह से कर्म क्षेत्र में चले कर्म क्षेत्र में चले सहज स्नेह भाव से सहज स्नेह भाव से सेवा है यज्ञ कुंड सेवा है यज्ञ कुंड समिधा सम हम चले समिधा सम हम चले दीनहीन सेवा ही दीनहीन सेवा ही परमेष्टि अर्चना परमेष्टि अर्चना केवल उपदेश नहीं केवल उपदेश नहीं कर्म रूप साधना कर्म रूप साधना मन वाचा कर्म से मन वाचा
HYA is a founding member and teacher of our Sanatan Dharma classes, which take place every Thursday.
Because you saw a lot of young Hindus these days practicing Hinduism without actually understanding the true meaning, knowing the true meaning of why you're doing it, and that's why you actually started. In this day and age, it's very difficult to explain the concept of Hinduism to the youngsters. But I have seen, and many people have seen, that this is being achieved through the Hinduism classes which you started. So it's quite a remarkable achievement, which not many people might see, but it's happening. And now you've actually got a team of young teachers who teach Hinduism in a modern way. Is that fair?
Yes, we have a team of youngsters who can explain Hinduism, particularly in the modern day and age. In past, even myself, I enjoy listening to kathas and lectures, and that was one of the reasons I used to go Mandir. Rather than, this is honest, that rather than a darshan, my reason for going Mandir was katha, because I love listening. Then we realized that the kathas were done in Gujarati. Sometimes we used to go to shakas and the lectures were done in Hindi. And we saw that difficulty in youth, that they were struggling. And that was one of the reasons we started Hinduism classes, Sanatan Dharma classes in Woolwich, with the help of Dilip Bhai Lakhani, the Jai Lakhani as known as, and Hirji Bhai here who's sitting. So we had a discussion with Hirji Bhai, and straight away, all three of us, we had the same concern. So we started the classes. And today we have a good team of, we don't say they're experts in Hinduism, but they're good teachers and they can convey the message to the younger generation.
Of course. And it's quite a remarkable achievement that we're getting and the results we are seeing through the Hinduism classes. But that's the results and that's the achievement. What do you get out of all this?
We have never thought of what we get out of this, because that question has never come up in our minds. We're just doing seva. And it's become like a second nature that you eat every day, but you never think that why you are eating. Because you are in a routine, you're kind of you fall in a routine and you never think back. But as you have asked me a question, I have a few examples where, like in Navratris recently, I can remember that one of a student introduced me to their parents saying that he's my Hinduism teacher and he's the one who has taught me Hinduism. And that feeling within you which cannot be described, you feel so proud of yourself that you have made some positive impact in somebody else's life. And it's difficult to explain in the words how to explain that feeling you get. And secondly, when you see that when you're doing a job of a rishi or a sannyasi or a teacher, we call it the gurus. So we don't take the title of a guru, but we have people see us, the students will see you as gurus. And that feeling is, we cannot explain in words. It's that pride you get. You're proud of your students, and at the same time, another thing I just realized, as I said earlier, we are not experts in Hindu Dharma. So while we are teaching, same time we are learning. So that knowledge you gain. And don't forget, I've said in my in the video, in the interview, that in shakas I used to give bodhiks. And the bodhik in shaka, the time limit is 20 minutes max. If it's a shaka for 1.5 hours, you get 20 minutes. If the shaka is 1 hour, you get 15, 20 or 15, 10 minutes. Now to cover a subject in that small time was very difficult. So either you can't justify the subject in shakas. So what we said is, you need to create another classes or something where you get more than 20 minutes, and here our classes are 1.5 hours. So just imagine you go where you are taking a subject for 20 minutes and now you're taking same subject for 1.5 hours. So the planning for yourself teaches you, and the way you are putting forward, you can give more as well. So by planning, you have to think deeper. How are you going to? Where 20 minutes planning is very easy. But to plan for 1.5 hour lesson is quite difficult. So you can give more, and at the same time you're learning more by doing research.
So you're saying there's also an element that you started with Hinduism. The other thing that you mentioned is that the impact you have on the society with these classes, you might not necessarily see it, but it's there. It's there. And obviously you shouldn't expect appreciation, but you do it. Is that what, is that a fair reflection of why you do all this seva?
Myself, I've been a big fan of Karmakand, and at one point, if I get it right or wrong, I don't know, but I wanted to practice Karmakand as well. And even at home in the Ashtami, I do my own havan. So I've always been a big fan of Karmakand. And to understand Karmakand, today we all do Karmakands. We practice rituals. And sometimes we don't understand why we're doing it. And I'm not saying not to practice. If you don't understand, just keep on practicing. One day we will understand. So I used to practice. I wanted to practice. I still practice Karmakand. But to actually know why I am doing it. And I believe by teaching Hinduism and taking the classes, at least they know why they're doing it. Maybe not in deeper.
Good.
And another thing is we're leaving that, we are starting them off. So they will continue after. So we are not saying that we are giving them a full package.
Okay.
We'll give you a push and then we inspire them to carry on.
Okay.
So I think that's the best way of learning. So how much can we give? They are with us until GCSE or A level. But then we create this craze within them that in future they want to study or they want to do further research themselves.
So in your mind, because you're a true Swayam Sevak, in your mind you're obviously seeing what's developing, what's happening to the society. So is that what gives you satisfaction, that something is growing, what you started is growing and people are continuing with it?
No, I think we don't look for the your past students, how they're progressing in future, but new students keep coming in.
Okay.
So that new students itself is inspiring and makes us keep on going.
Okay.
Because it's not a endless job that, oh, you have trained so many people, now your job is finished.
Yeah.
Year after year, so many new students are coming, so you got another challenge in front of you that now I need to teach these youngsters. At the moment, we have 12 very small kids now. They've been practicing mantras and subhasit and all that. So recently, they did a display in a town hall with the Diwali function with the mayor, and they chanting mantras.
Yes.
Now, even the people present there, they were surprised that at the age of children from 5 to 10, they're chanting Hindu mantras. And that's kind of unique.
It is.
And when you get the appreciation from people as well, I think that also inspires and motivates us to do more work.
That is very true. And sometimes the inspiration comes from places which you might not even see. For example, you mentioned the mantras. You're teaching the Hinduism children the mantras. And I know that some parents are actually inspired to learn the mantras because the children are saying the mantras or learning the mantras. So in a way, the inspiration and the impact is there, but you can't see it, which is quite a vital concept of seva, I believe. Now, there's one other thing that is faced in this community or any community, that you want to do seva and you do what you have to do regardless of the appreciation you get, regardless of seeing any fruits that you might see of your seva. But what happens is, when you're doing seva, you are bound to face criticism. You are bound to face people who are going to discourage you. But yet, I'm sure you've experienced that quite a lot in all these years that you've been doing seva. But it's just, would you give us an insight on how do you overcome that and still continue doing seva, regardless of all the criticism that you receive, all the discouragement that you get?
I think that's the uniqueness of seva. Recently, a couple of months ago, I was reading one of the scriptures from the Sampradaya, Vachanamrita. And in Vachanamrita, the Lord explains the concept of seva. And He says that by practicing seva, your antakaran gets sudh. Your intellect and buddhi and mind gets, wo antakaran sudh ho jata hai. So I think by practicing seva, once your antakaran is sudh, and there was an example where few of the devotees could not focus in devotion. And Swami Bhagavan actually sends them to do a seva of the sannyasis and sadhus, that go and serve these sannyasis, and once your antakarana is suddh, then you will be able to carry on in bhakti. So I think automatically by doing seva, your antakarana is suddh, so it doesn't matter what people say about you, that doesn't hurt you after.
Right.
You become used to it. And you are so polite that you want to carry on marching.
Okay.
So that doesn't bother you that much.
Right.
So I think it's inner peace, inner suddhikaran that helps you, and that becomes a sideline. And your mind is focused where you want to go.
Okay. In this materialistic world, though, you get a lot of people in your same organization criticizing you, putting you down, and you just think, you know what, I don't need this, right? I don't need to do this, so why am I facing all these obstacles?
I think I'm lucky that I'm also a Swayamsevak. And in Shaka, when you do a task or when you do a bodhik, first thing they do is criticize you. You could have done better here. This is something you could have improved.
Yeah.
And I think we are kind of used to it now from that system. That in Shakas the criticism comes first. That
Right.
where could I have improved myself? And then when you are in Samaj, I think that becomes like suggestion rather than criticism.
Okay,
So I would recommend that if you want to serve, you go and join Shaka. That will teach you how to take a criticism.
okay, so is it more that you see the criticism as something to improve rather than something to discourage you?
And I think that's what I think most of the Swayamsevaks sitting here, they will agree with. Every time we've been criticized first, and I think that's helped a lot.
Okay, so the criticism, even though it's meant to discourage you, you take it as constructive.
As a positive, yes.
Okay. There's another question I was going to take later, but as I've got you here, I think you're the most appropriate person to probably answer this. You've answered half of it, why it's important that we do seva, but we're all Hindus here. What does Hinduism say about the concept of seva?
I think when I'm looking around, there's so many experts sitting in front of me who can better answer this question, but I'll try my best. First thing, Swami Vivekananda gave one version, that Nar Seva Narayan Seva. Serving the humanity is serving God Himself. That's the first concept of Hinduism. Second concept is that Seva is Paramo Dharma. Seva is the highest Dharma. And there are examples which maybe later on we can talk about in our scriptures, in our Puranas. And there is a third concept which I just spoke about, that even Swami Bhagavan gave one concept, that if you want to suddhi or if you want to purify your antakaran or intellect, then you perform a seva. So I think seva is given us as a tool to achieve something before we go on the path of bhakti or something. So there are so many examples. I think there's an example I probably mentioned later, or Pondrik from the Maharashtra, when God comes to give him darshan and how he reacts while performing a seva. So there are a few examples, but I believe seva is a must for everyone, because that makes you a human. Seva makes a human, and Hinduism is a humanism. Hinduism is actually humanism. So I think if you want to be a true human, then seva is given by the rishis, so we can be a human. And we can see that from Hinduism. So I think it's a tool for us to practice, where we become a better Hindus, and not only better Hindus, a better human beings.
Okay. So effectively, seva is embedded within Hinduism. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, when you're serving others, what happens is when we're serving, there's two parties. Now, there's me and there's the person who I'm serving. What the concept says is that when you're serving others, you see them as a god. There's a concept in Hinduism that you are a god. Whatever within you is your Atman, there's Atman in front of you. So when we're serving someone as a god, so that bhakti automatically creates. Your devotion creates. See, so when we are serving, we are not saying, oh, just because you are poor, or you are disabled, or you are needy, that's why we are serving you. No, I see you as a God, and that's why I am serving you. So that is the concept given. So your serving becomes the highest.
Right.
So you don't have this feeling of, I am lower and I am higher and you are lower, and you need my service, that's why I am serving you. No. Hindu doesn't, maybe starts with that one, but then the Hindu concept goes beyond, and you see God, you see a Chaitanya in everyone, and you don't downgrade them. I think that is the true concept. And that's why Swami Vivekananda said, serving humanity is serving, not seva narayana seva.
Okay.
And I think that's why probably the scripture is saying that seva is the highest dharma, seva parama dharma.
Okay. Well, the thing is, you're very knowledgeable and I could go on all night, but thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Chabania, who will be our fourth panelist. Gantibai is a co-opted member of HYA and is the founding member of the maths classes that run every Saturday.
Namaste. Welcome. So you started the maths classes by teaching GCSE and A-level students in your home. You also introduced Purna Vidya teachings in HYA, which is a huge, very beneficial concept. You've also done first aid workshops all over UK, and you're currently involved with a nursery project with the Swaminarayan Mandir. In doing all that, you also, I forgot, because you do so much, it's hard to fit it all in, but you actually spearheaded the International Yoga Days in UK, and you are the head of UK, as I understand. You even inspired some of the young members to actually take a professional course. They went all the way to India to do yoga, to learn professionally, and that was inspired by you, which is quite remarkable on its own. Now, what I want to talk to you about today is because you've got so many responsibilities, so many organizations. But what I want to really focus on is a lot of people today in the audience or in the society, they want to do seva, they want to help the society, they want to help the community, but the biggest problem they have is they say, you know what, I don't have time. I want to help, I don't have time, I'm so busy. Now you are actually one of the busiest karyakartas in Woolwich that we know, and a lot of people will agree. You're fulfilling them quite dutifully. HYA, Hindu Swayam Sevak Sangh, and the nursery project with the Swaminarayan Mandir. Now, how do you actually fulfill all these duties? How do you manage your time by doing all this?
I think I've been very lucky. I was introduced to Sangh when I was 23.
Okay.
And at that time, I was given a book. I can't remember whether I was at Sangrikshavar or Kimjibai who gave me the book for RSS in New Zealand. And that book is all about how Dr. Ji managed everything. And when you read that book, I'm doing nothing compared to that. Yeah? I'm doing absolutely nothing. And when you see Sangh Karyakartas, the Pracharaks, I'm at a zero level compared to them. So it is very little that I'm doing, but because there's people doing nothing, it makes that I'm doing something.
You're doing quite a lot compared to...
It is that a lot of people don't do nothing, that it seems that I'm doing something. I'm not doing hardly anything. It's the Pracharaks, it's the saints, it's the Rishiminis who have done a lot of that. Compared to them, I have nothing. So let's understand that. And I think of life very simple. I don't make life complicated. If you think about too much, then you think you're doing too much. But if you think one thing at a time, let's take one principle. What made me start my mathematics class first? I saw at that time, people were coming from India. They were failing their GCSE English, but they were passing their maths. Because we Hindus have in our blood to do maths well. Only thing is that little spark was required. Yeah. So I thought I start this class, that spark will be given, and we'll all get A stars. And many students have achieved in HYA A stars in mathematics. So I analyzed where is the thing that we need to do, add little spark, things get going. Now I'm not even involved in teaching maths at all. There's so many people now are 10 times better than me, who are professional people. You got Jaya Shivani here, she's a professional teacher in one of the secondary school for many years. You got Reena Ravadia, who's English teacher here. But the point I'm trying to say, I just gave him a little part saying, look, there's a little thing that we need to do, let's do it together, and things happen. So that's why in our blood, in Hindus, we are naturally good at maths, but we need a little extra spark, that's all we need to get. Second thing, we started Taekwondo. The Taekwondo was there because I felt that we Hindus are known as, we can't defend ourselves. And at that time, I had taken the responsibility of the Kendra Shadikram. So I thought, I need to see that I'm setting a high goal. If I don't send it, who is going to do it? Unfortunately, it is not running now, but I'm speaking with the Nitesh and Shradha saying, look, one way or another, we're going to have Taekwondo. That's one of my future plans. It's going to happen. Taekwondo classes, whether people like it or not, because we all need to defend ourselves. We will start. Sooner or later, but we will start. Then we started, okay, why did the yoga class start? Well, now is the media saying mental health is happening, family breakdown. I can see from Dr. Ji's time that this is what needed to cure this problem then. Narendra Modi saw that. Internationally, we got to do something. So I'm just a little thing what Dr. Ji, Narendra Modi has told. I said, okay, I need to do my bit. And that's it.
Okay.
Very simple. We need to do our little bit and Samaj joins you. So very simple. And then finally, first time, we were wasting too much money paying to HYA organization, hundreds of dollars. When I said we can save that money for our own organization, save the money to do better for the mandir, or give that donation to the mandir or organization or sangh or whatever that needs it, or the garib or less well-off people, keep that money, save it. Because I've got time, I can do that. But I haven't got the money to give,
Yeah.
I've got time to give.
Yeah.
Everybody's got time to give. Everybody's not billionaire to give money,
Yes.
but everybody's got time to give. So that's how first aid was started. And then the finally recently Punya Vidya. The word Punya means complete. Vidya means knowledge. Now the Punya Vidya is starting from 5-year-old to 18-year-old. It covers everything from humanity to serving to environment. It covers A to Z.
Yeah.
And I thought that's what's lacking. And like Kanjiva said, we need to understand what we're doing and why we're doing it. And Punya Vidya is ready-made material that anybody can use at any time for any day. So we need to understand ourselves. And surprising enough, even our teachers who are implementing this, finding it difficult. So it shows we definitely need to learn that.
Okay.
All right? If we don't learn it, how are children going to do it?
Sure.
So that's a big gap again. So I think I'm doing nothing.
Well, the thing is, from the way it comes across, from all the things that you've started or helped put the spark, like you say, it's because from the inner feeling, you feel this is lacking. Let's do this. And quite interestingly, you seem to always say, oh, you know what? I've got the time, so why not? But there are a lot of people today who are going to say, you know what, I don't have the time. I don't have the time. And what's different with you seems to be you somehow managed to find the time. Are you saying that it really needs to be within you, that you want to do this and you'll find the time?
I don't say it's within you, it's what you see outside. If you analyze it, what is required outside to make the society better. And if you see that, for example, now government is spending millions of pounds in National Health Service for mental illness and psychologists, and they can't find specialist teachers and all that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So what I say, if you look at it, what's the requirement, and then you say, well, you are human, you got the divinity in you, you can do whatever you want. Simple concept, right? You got the power to do whatever you want. Just do a little bit. Everybody's watching TV.
Yes.
Who has not got time to watch TV? I don't care if I watch TV or not, if it's 2 days or 1 day gone, I won't miss it. As long as the work that I need to do, or the work that's required in the community, that comes first, TV comes second.
Okay.
I don't care if I miss my best serial or whatever it is, even the news, even if I don't watch a TV, when we have Sun Shower, we don't have TV for 10 days. We don't miss it. So that Sun Shower was my milestone in saying, look, you can achieve a lot of things. You can save time.
Okay.
Right? So that's one way. The other thing is, everybody's got 24 hours.
Yes.
I haven't got extra hours, which I had, but I haven't. Everybody's got the same thing. But it's how you utilize that 24 hours, it's up to you. So you can say, everybody keeps on saying, I haven't got no, classic example, when I say yoga, let's use yoga as an example. I haven't got no time for yoga. I said, have you got time for sleeping? Everybody says yes.
Yeah.
But I said, what if I say, you don't need to sleep 8 hours and you need to sleep 6 hours? Everybody says, yes, that will do. I said, okay, do 2 hours yoga, you need to sleep 6 hours, job done. Very simple. Yeah, if you do 2 hours yoga, you don't need to do 8 hours sleep. You need 6 hours. But nobody wants to do it and try it out. Try it out for 6 months, you'll see it. It's straight simple. So put whatever you think into practice, then things will happen very easy.
Okay. It's actually very interesting, very interesting what you're saying. And again, from my experience with working with you and knowing you in the community, I know you work with so many different organizations. I've mentioned a few, and I'm sure I missed a few. Now, there are people again in the audience or in the community where they're already working with one organization, and they have this thinking that, you know what, I'm doing my bit, I'm working with HYA, I'm doing my bit. So if they need, there's loads of organizations here, some are local, some are the Southeast Hindu Association. There are a lot of organizations, but people have this concept that they say, you know what, I'm doing this, I've done my bit. How do you change that thought process? How should they be thinking?
I haven't got an answer for that, but Dr. just given the answer for that. It's not my or we, it's we. It's not, oh, I've done my bit. What about our bit? If you look at it, our bit, so we always say, there's this not happening, government not doing this, that organization not doing this, but what are you doing about it? When you put that into it, then it automatically happens. Then you automatically find things, and you don't. Like I said, I still think if I have to do another project, I can still do it if I have to.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's when you analyze it, whole society, and when you see people who's doing even more than you, then you think you're doing nothing.
Yes.
And the best people that I can see, because like I said, there's 4 paths to your life. First one is path of Karma Yoga, which is doing action, for practical things, physical work. That is what Sanghas pioneer. Sangha is expert in that, doing the Karma Yoga path. That's why second satsang, Dr. Guruji, he gave up being into Bhakti path, becoming into Karma Yoga. And when you understand that kind of people and read about it, you think, yeah, that is very easy. Karma Yoga is very easy to do.
Okay.
So, but then you don't survive with just Karma Yoga. You still need to have Bhakti. And then when you read about Hanuman, you don't need to do any bhajan. I'm useless. If someone says sing me any quotations or anything like that, I cannot sing. But I love hearing people singing. I love hearing poets, bhajans, kirtans. So if you have that bhav in there, that determination in there, and that focus, which is what Hanumanji did, then again spirituality comes into you, you get even more weight.
Okay.
And then lastly, I used to hate reading. I've never ever liked reading voluntarily. But when you went to Shasha, if you want to do seva, you have to do reading. And that's what I learned from Sun. Keep on doing regular reading, and then you get the jnana. From that jnana, nothing stops you.
Okay.
So you have to balance. Some things are more percentage. In Sangh, Swayamsevaks and Sevikas have more Karma Yogi path. If you are working in temple organizations, you have more Bhakti path. If you are working in education, you have a more knowledgeable path.
Okay.
Rajya, whatever it is. Whichever portion, but you have to have some element of these 4 things, whether you like it or not.
Okay.
That exists in all of us. And when I went to the yoga in Vyasa, I was at 50. And at 50, I got this inspiration that I can do anything what I want. I can challenge any faith, I can do whatever I want. If I want to go to speak to Theresa May, I can do it if I want to do it. I have that will, I wouldn't say I cannot do this stuff.
Okay.
Because like I say, every one of us got divinity. Divinity means you are God yourself.
Okay.
Yeah? Bhagavan says you are spirit. So if you are believe in that way, then you can achieve anything.
Okay.
So life is very simple if you make it.
Right.
Everybody's getting married, having children, which is very complex things to do. Looking after children. It's not easy thing, is it? Looking after children, raising that.
Yeah.
The Samaj work, what I'm doing is very easy compared to that.
You're very humble. You're very humble.
So I look at it, getting married was the toughest thing. Raising children was the second toughest thing.
Okay.
Doing the work I'm doing is very easy compared to that.
Well, that in itself is quite a message, because the younger generation. That is very well said. in their own lives. And I say the younger generation because I apparently don't belong to that now. So, so the younger generation are engrossed in their daily lives, right? You know, the cluster, that they feel that they don't have the time. But I actually one thing you said to me has stuck to me, and that is, don't think about I've done my bit. You're saying, have I done our bit? There is actually no boundary to our, is there really? Because our could be our community, our borough, our country, our world. I mean, there literally is no boundary. So thank you very much for that insightful message. Thank you very much. To open the floor to all the panelists for questions and answers. I would just like to conclude with saying that in this 40 years that we've, all the events that we've done to commemorate the 40 years, we've had to interact with so many local organizations, so many different charities, and so many other people, volunteers. But you know what, the one thing in common that all the organizations, all the charities, all the volunteers have? We all want the betterment of our society. We all want the betterment of our community. So we are all different. You might think we are working with different communities, different organizations, different charities, but we all have a common aim. As such, we are all one, and we should all work as one. We are together for our common aim, and we should continue working as one. Thank you very much, everybody.
And how I became a swaying seller. First of all, I'm not going to stand here and pretend that I always knew all those years ago that I would become a swaying seller and that I would be part of as many organisations as I am now. But what I will say is that my opinion on who a swaying seller is and what a swaying seller does has changed in every experience that I've had. Before I take you on this journey, I just want to say something about Seva. Seva is the selfless act of doing something in the service of others, not only for yourself. And I think that embodies what HYA is about. I actually joined HYA so I could become a part of the Samaj, so I could give something back to the community that had given me such an opportunity, that had given so much to me, not only academically, but in terms of a network of friends, being able to socialise every Saturday, playing football, and all those things that many of us in this room have done. The person that inspired me to give back to HYA is Govinpai Sevan. He stood at the back now, he was sat at the front. But he showed me that I need to give back to the community that I had almost taken so much from in my years at HYA. But was this the only reason that I volunteered? Probably not. I was doing it for my self-development, so I can stand here without my feet shaking and deliver a speech, so that I can learn teamwork, communication, all these key skills that are important now in our careers. And even got to the stage where Gandalf joked that she got 10 to 20 different reference requests from me, and she basically told me to stop doing that. So that HYA experience is what I then took with me to uni. And at my university in Nottingham, I studied economics. I was a part of the Hindu Society there, where I was a vice president for a year. And why did I join that? Why was I Swayamsevak there? And it was basically, again, to provide Hindu students a network to inspire them to do work in their own communities when they go back home. But even then, I was helping people as a Swayamsevak, but I still used to get excited when someone said, oh look, it's Kev from Hindustan, or oh look, that guy hosted Diwali Ball last year. And things like that still made me happy inside that I was serving the community. And those two short stories actually bring me to where I am today. So I'm currently on the committee for National Hindu Students Forum UK. NHSF is an organisation that helps students create an identity at their UK campuses, especially Hindu students. And it allows them to express themselves throughout their university life. So why am I doing that? So at HYA I wanted to be a part of the Samaj, and that's partly what I did at my university. But now I want students 5, 10 and 20 years from now to have the same experiences that I did, not only at HYA but in my community. I want them to be inspired to do things in the same way that various people in this exact room inspired me. want them to progress and advance their culture and become Swayamsevaks for themselves in 10 to 15 years' time. So I've been talking a lot about myself, but the aim of this little talk is that I didn't used to see myself as a Swayamsevak, and the different things I've done in my life for 40 years, we need to encourage everyone in my generation and younger to also become Swayamsevaks and help their community. And that brings to an end what I have to say. I just want to end on this thought. I am a Swayamsevak. I have been a Swayamsevak for the past 10 years. And the best thing is that, at least now, I don't plan to stop for the near future. Thank you very much.
For various reasons. You didn't know you were doing voluntary services. You didn't know you were a social, but you were. And that's the difference, that the message that needs to be passed is, as long as you're doing something for the community, you are a Swayamsevak. And I know you're building towards the full, the true seva, true Swayamsevak, but it doesn't matter what you do. You don't have to be, you don't feel that you're volunteering, but you are. And all the examples you've given, you are a Swayamsevak, and that's an important message. And that important message also actually transpires to our toddlers group that we started with HYA and Kanjibai. They started the toddlers group, and Hina Kerai is not here because she's not well. She again thinks she's not a Swayamsevak, she's a mother. She's a mother who wants to bring up her children in a certain way. But in doing that, the toddlers group is ongoing. So it's very important actually what you said, and that's why I'm interjecting that you think you're not a Swayamsevak, you're doing things, but as long as you're contributing to the community, you're contributing to the society, that is Swayamsevak. Thank you.
My name is Ganesh. So I've come across a lot of people, not just locally, but in my work profession, who say that serving society isn't their cup of tea. How do we convince everyone to do some hard work?
So, Nanda, if you can take this question.
You say it's not a cup of tea, but I think most of us like to help each other. And seva work is just helping. I think you need to bring it back to basics and not overcomplicate what seva is. We all do it, whether we're helping our colleagues in the workplace, helping our parents, helping our family and friends. So you just need to say, seva is there, that's your starting point. Do things for your family, do things in work, and then it grows. We at Christmas, most organizations are organizing Christmas parties, and people are volunteering for that. That's seva, yeah? So it's just bringing it down to bring, and relate it back to what their interests are, not what we want. So it's what are they interested in, and relate seva back in that way.
Also, don't make it as a cup of tea. It can be a cup of anything, as long as you do the seva.
I think being a Hindu, you are doing a seva because that's in our second nature. We don't have to think. And sometimes, as Ravish was talking to Kevalji, I think sometimes we don't realize that we are doing seva. So as earlier I said, sometimes you don't think every day why I'm eating every day. You just do it. And I think seva is inbuilt is within our culture. So it's about realizing you serve your parents, you help your families, as Kantaben said. This is a seva. Matru seva, Pitru seva. So I think everybody does a seva, but sometimes they don't realize. What we are encouraging here today is that everybody does that for own people, which is own family. Go one step and do something for Samaj now. And I think that will automatically come where the opportunity arises. So people automatically falls in. So we just need to encourage them to do something, and next step. So we're doing something in the house, now take that one step further and do something for the organization or for the Samaj. And I think it's best to do it in your own, I think Kantaben mentioned it. You do seva where you're comfortable. If I'm not comfortable in one organization, then when I'm doing a seva, that becomes a burden. We don't want to do something with a burden in our mind. So join an organization. I think I was giving an example that if you are a builder And for example, myself, when I am a builder, I go to Shaka. Now, when Shaka will use my expertise as a builder, he won't. So my expertise is not being used in Shaka. I want to do Seva through my skills, which is building skills, but no. So when the opportunity came in Swaminarayan, offer your services there. This is a Seva also. So you don't have to serve your own organization. पीछे हमारे गणेश हिंदू मंदिर के कार्यकर्ता बैठे हैं, तो वो एक दिवाली के कार्यक्रम आप बोल रहे थे that they want to develop a website. तो शाखा में कोई स्वयंसेवक है क्या जो सेवा दे सके? तो he is a स्वयंसेवक in Shaka, then he can go and give seva in Ganesh Hindu Mandir. So that's what we're saying. Use your expertise where you feel comfortable. You can be a swayamsevak, you can be a devotee of one temple, but if your expertise is not being utilized, use it somewhere else. But do seva.
When Nilesh says, no, sometimes some people say that's not my cup of tea. So I think it must be someone wants to do something, but he's not comfortable, he or she is not comfortable doing or serving the society very well. So I think all the elders or the elder members of the organization, they have to create some kind of atmosphere where they are working, where people easily come forward and do their seva. They should feel comfortable of doing something. It all depends on the elder Karikata or the main committee members and the people who would like to come and do it. So it's very important. The atmosphere is right. People come voluntarily.
Thank you. My question maybe is to Kanji Bhai. But Kanji Bhai, you've already answered my question partly, but I would still like to ask you. When you were being interviewed, you mentioned that when it comes to doing seva, there are two parties involved. One who's doing the seva and one who's receiving the seva. The person who's doing the seva at some time, some point, if they feel they're actually being used by the person to whom you're providing the seva, partly you've answered the question, change the organization. My question is, for the person who's giving the seva, what feelings should they change so that they don't feel used and they are able to carry on doing that seva?
I think as I said, that if the seva becomes burden, then give up that seva. Because that will not justify. So that if you think that I've been pushed or I've been harassed by doing this seva, pass it on to someone else. Secondly, I think I said that when we're doing seva, if you keep that in mind that I'm serving God Himself, then the organization vanishes, disappears, and the person disappears. So मैं मंदिर में सेवा कर रहा हूँ, I'm serving the temple, I'm in committee, लेकिन some people have problem with my seva. But if you keep the God in mind that जो भी मैं कर रहा हूँ, I'm not doing for the people here, I'm doing for the God Himself, then the middle people will vanish. So I think keep that focus is important. Sometimes we lose that focus and we concentrate too much on people, that what people are saying. But our seva is not, sometimes it's not for the people. When you're in temples and organizations, you have a larger goal. So if you focus on the larger goal, then the smaller things will disappear automatically. So I think it's very important that keep the larger goals in front of you rather than seeing what's happening around you. And I think sometimes the not achieving certain things on time also makes us in a difficult situation. If you keep the goal in front of you, that motivates you. I think that will help you to carry on working. So मैं किसी के लिए काम नहीं कर रहा हूँ, मैं परमात्मा के लिए काम कर रहा हूँ. That could be one of the ways of looking at it. I'm not saying that's the only answer, but especially when you're working in the temples and the other organizations, that is the best part, according to you. Anyway, I hope that answers your question.
Obviously, you all know that I've been part of this association myself as well since 1981, hold various positions, teachers, and so on. I work for a very, very reputable organization in Greenwich, Borough of Greenwich. And, well, to be precise, it's National Maritime Museum. Time and again I've asked our team to visit maritime museums, and particularly they're celebrating Diwali there. It's not on a huge scale. We are a very, very established organization so far. And this year in Diwali, we had 9,000 people coming to visit one day only. And all the people from different communities. I'm sorry, somebody's mobile is going. Yeah, so we had nearly 9,000 people from the other communities. My suggestion is when Diwali comes, if there is some sort of commitment to represent our organizations and have some sort of activities there, we can focus what we are doing with Hinduism all the time. We need to spread message among all the communities, that is, all the human beings over there. So if there is any room for that, perhaps think about it and go from there on. Thank you.
I think it's something that we consider, that taking part in the various functions to represent the Hinduness. So many people are organizing so many different festivals, celebrating different festivals. So I think it's important for all the organizations to represent. Like most of the organizations do represent in town hall Diwali functions. And I think this is one of them where we can influence, we can give Hinduism back to them. So I think it's a good suggestion. It's to be considered.
A question, and I will ask it bluntly, and I need honest opinion on it. I've seen 4 of you work all these years, from the beginning of 40 years of Hindu Youth Association. Tell me honestly, would you have reached the stage you have reached now if you did not have the training of Shaka in you?
Can I just say, I didn't start Shaka until about a year ago. So my background is not Shaka or Samiti. My background is being a mother, being able to do something, and putting something back into society. My children took something from society. I wanted to put something back into society. So I don't have a Shaka background. You don't need to have a Shaka background or Samiti background. I think you need to have it in yourself to be able to say, I want to do something for society.
I think going to Shaka makes a huge difference. Like I said, I was doing bits and pieces before that. But since I've gone to Shaka, like I said, I'm doing nothing. And this is where we need to understand. Shaka gives you that bigger concept. It takes away that I or my. It gives you the thing that everything is ours. And we're doing it for betterment for everyone rather than individual. So I don't see one organization as mine. I see all organizations mine. I don't see that I'm doing it for my benefit. I'm doing it because it's what Ishwar has given the power us to do. And Shaka has given me the broad thinking, and it gives you the exposure of pracharaks, karyakartas, who's dedicated their full lifetime. And when you get that sort of experience, and then when you go to Bharat and see people coming from all over the world, you'll see bigger picture. So Sangh going to Shaka, I think definitely has helped me, without a doubt.
Definitely it helped me. It made me become a selfless, doing whatever I'm doing, and also positive thinking. Anything bad thing happening locally or in India or wherever in the world. So you always thinking as a positive. Like one of the Karyakarta was watching TV and there was something in one of the country people were politically or something happening, was getting killed. And he said it's very unfortunate this thing is happening. At the same time, some other people might say it's their fault, or it's the government's fault, why this is happening. So the positive thinking it gives me by going to Shaka. And also the classes we are running here or something, the atmosphere is so attracting others. And whoever comes to first time maybe, never been to Shaka, but they come in here. But the atmosphere and the behavior of all the Karyakartas are such, which they have learned by going to Shaka, all the sanskars and all the good skills there. So definitely to Amrit Bhai, if I didn't go to Shaka, I don't think I would be doing all these things. And the same thing with many others, like the majority of the volunteers we are getting with positive thinking are from Shaka.
I'm a proud Swayamsevak. I go to Shaka. It's been 30 years I've been going to Shaka now. And what I've achieved is from Shaka. But what I believe is, not everybody sitting here is made for Shaka. It's like if you're going to a temple, then you are going there for devotion. If you're going to Shaka, you're not expecting there to do kirtan and bhajan, because it's a different agenda. So Shaka's aims and objective is to create Karyakarta, and the Karyakarta will work for the Samaj, give the seva for the Samaj. So that's obvious that we got that training from there. So my point is that I think सब लोग शाखा में नहीं आएंगे, but be proud of your organization which you belong to, and do belong to one of the organizations. And whatever the programs that organization carries out, that will become a seva automatically. Now I know that even so many other organizations running so many beautiful classes, and there's volunteers there. And there's no discriminating of who's coming and who's going. Even there's no devotees of, like Somna Mandir running or Ram Mandir running a Gujarati classes, then if the people are coming to learn, doesn't have to be their devotees of that temple. They can still come and serve. So I think it's important to be a part of an organization, and we are proud that we belong to a Sangh organization. But one must belong to one organization and give the seva in that organization. The important here is not what organization is, the important is the organization and its seva. And stick to it. And if your expertise are not used in that, so be a devotee of that organization, but perform the seva somewhere else, you can do that. But seva important hai. Organization to badalte rehte hain. And we are proud that we belong to Shaka, and people will be proud to belong to their own organization. Seva important rehni chahiye.
It's a very important point that Kanji Bhai made there about, and it's a very important question that you asked, saying that is Shaka the reason that you actually developed HYA? Now, I would like to say Shaka has helped develop HYA because of the skills that they've learned and everything they've learned from Shaka. But, like Kanji Bhai said, it's not about the organization, it's about yourself. There are very many different organizations here. Your foundation, for example, no Shaka skills, no Shaka, but look at what they're doing. You know, Ramandir, everybody's doing. So it's the individual, not the organization. And the individuals coming together is the society. It does not matter which umbrella you belong to. So while all the credit can go to an organization, it's all about the individuals working together. And just thought I interject with that. Thank you.
I think sometimes the Shaka gets credit of HYA because Holy Shaka is one of the few Shakas they consider as the good Shakas, where everything's planned and everything. And when it comes to why the Holy Shaka is a good Shaka, then they say because of the HYA. So there's a two-way system here. The HYA is running so perfectly because of the Swayamsevaks, and Shakas benefited. Shakas got some good Karyakartas because their skills is being utilized. So they've been given opportunity to serve. So they're becoming, so it's both ways actually, not one way.
Any questions?
Yes, can I ask? Yeah, myself, Namaskar to all here. Myself witness that I have taken so much advantage from your activities. And my daughter, she's just 8 years old, and she takes, she participates for all the yoga classes you have provided to the Greenwich Hindu temple. I'm very much, proud to go there and learn all these activities. At the meantime, you have that great noble activities, noble services you provide. And then you teach that is kind of revolution for all the Hindus basically. But at the meantime, how do you expand this Hindu Youth Association? So far as I think about it, it's all for Hindu youth and for different cross sections, not only that. But I'm basically how you try to expand these activities. I mean, how trying to reach to the other people, like from my country, I'm from Nepal. There are a lot of community here, but I haven't seen they have been participating. How are you trying to approach and reach to them? Thank you so much.
I think we're one of the lucky organizations locally where we do have people from the Hindus. We've got Christians, we've had Muslims attend, we've had Sikhs attend, and we've had people from different communities. Arunaj is here from the Tamil Association. We've got 50% of our students are from Sri Lanka background. We've got the Nepalese community, we've got a big intake from the Nepalese community. What we've done is we've gone out and welcomed in the new communities when they've come. You know, in Sri Lanka, during the wars, a lot of people came here as refugees. We opened our arms to them and said, look, we are family. We can come and help, just come and see. And they came and saw us and what we did, and they were encouraged by the fact that we were keeping our traditions alive, as well as teaching traditional, English and maths languages as well. And we've done the same with the Nepalese community when the Gurkhas were able to come here. We did the same. So we've actually got we're quite proud, we've got quite a mix of students.
We have a variety of activities. For example, our yoga classes is open to each and everyone, regardless of whether they're white, brown, black, whatever community. In Glendon Community Center on Tuesdays, we got many people coming from there, all from different organizations, from different people from no organizations are coming as well. Individual people are coming. So we are wanting volunteers to come forward and say, okay, we want to be part of HYA. I got expertise in running these activities, and then we're open to anybody. So many people in our Glendon Community Center through yoga, we are going through even through schools, saying, look, yoga is for everybody, regardless of your background, regardless of your color, regardless of whatever you are. So yoga, everybody wants to be happy and healthy. It's open to everyone. So many activities attract many people.
I think sometimes when we want to serve, we want to give something that we have and not what people want. So sometimes that's kind of waste of time. अभी तुम्हारे पेरेंट्स के फर्क दबा रहे हैं, लेकिन उसको दर्द हो रहा है, वो तो नहीं चलेगा ना. So ऐसे what someone wants, if you give them that, then they will come and join you. I think sometimes we are giving that what we want to give, and it's not necessary that is required by the Samaj. So I think if we consider that, sometimes which is Kantibai started maths classes because he saw a few people needed help. That's why he worked out. If Kantibai wanted to teach and that was his passion, then it might not be worked out. So what is required, we need to analyze first. I think.
Okay, we have time for...
One thing I must say, thank you very much for having invited me, because it's the first time or the second time for this event I have been. I always believe that one has to correct himself first and then correct the other person. So I take the blame that I didn't take much, didn't look around and know about your this day. Luckily, maybe God sent that gentleman invited me, and that is how I ended up here, and I have gathered so much of knowledge. Even when I heard about the Diwali and everything, it's good now that you all have got the contact. It may not be that we may be coming to every event of yours, but it's good if we also get some sort of information there is something happening, and see whichever way we can help you. I am from running the Tamil school for the last 27 years, but it's Tamil language and culture, which is Bharatanatyam, classical music, drum and everything. But I never gave publicity, I must admit. I was asked to start this school forcibly, and I started it, and today I'm running with 150 students. Wherever we can help out, we try to. I can't promise each time, but I have done quite a lot and gathered a lot of knowledge by having come here, and thank you very much for inviting me. And we'll see what help we can give or expand in some form or the other. And we also, majority are Hindus anyway. Thank you.
Hindu Youth Association. I was just talking to Govind Bhai in the car when I came. It takes a lot of energy to get an organization going for 40 years. It's not easy, this country. I've seen so many. And not only going for 40 years, but going and progressing further. So it's really, I would say, a historic milestone for Hindu Youth Association to celebrate 40 years and going strong. It requires a couple of things for organizations to go for that long and also progress. Foremost is you need to have a vision. When you have a vision, you also need some energy. And of course, sadhana, basically, you need to have dedication and working for it in spite of hot and cold, whatever weather it is, you are going for it. So the vision is very important. And the 4 panelists who were interviewed, I could say some of the key points in each one. The first one, going by. When he was the founder of it, naturally when he came, he had the vision. He said he saw something needed and he decided to do something. That vision, he got it from, of course, as he mentioned himself, from son. That vision in about 100 years ago, a doctor, age 36, going through poverty throughout his life, becoming a doctor. There were only around 60 doctors at that time in the whole of the state. But he never bothered to practice, not a single day. Because he had that vision. He had the urge to serve the society. He said that such a great civilization, such a vast number of people following the civilization, yet they could be easily be made into slaves by a few thousand coming thousands of miles away. He was questioning, what's the problem with us? And that vision that he said, I want to create something. And he started not with elders, he didn't start with rallies and demonstrations. He started with few kids, 36-year-old, starting kids at 8, 9 years old, playing games with them, mentoring them, and he created karyakartas who gave life for it. Imagine how he can influence a child who then goes, graduates, and gives a life for it. Scores and scores of people came out. That organization now 100 years, almost 100 years old, and is growing. That inspiration sparkled overseas and also touched going by. And then going by felt he had to do something. So that was a vision that everyone needs to have for an organization to go forward. Otherwise, the organizations come 10 years, 15 years, lifetime, and you can see either finished or just in namesake. So the vision is very important. And then next one, Kantaben, I would say, she talked about a samaj, not of a small samaj, but of a wider community. That's why it's important. When Dr. Ji realized, he said every Hindu thinks of only himself, not on a wider side. And when you talk about yourself only, then you limit your strength. When we talk, many times I tell people, if you just say, I'm a Swaminarayan, I'm a Gujarati or a Brahmin, then you are say probably one in 1,000 or something like that. But you say, I'm a Hindu, that you are 1 in 6 of the humanity. That strength gives you. It gives a wider identity. So Dr. Ji said that unity, that feeling of oneness, that I'm not just a smaller group, I'm a wider group, is created in some. When anyone who comes up in Shaka, he might come to play, but after a few years, himself identifies with it. That growth, that I am a part of a wider community, is very important in our faith. The third one that Kanchibai gave was talk about seva. Very important. Because seva is the one that diminishes your ego. And that's why we always say that if you really want to do a spiritual part, and that's what Sangh has said. And Eknath Ranade, if you read his book, Sadhana of Service, you'll find, he said, slowly and slowly by serving, you start to think that I'm not doing service. I'm just made a tool. I'm an instrument to do service. And when you start that idea that I'm not the person who is responsible for doing seva, I'm just an instrument, then your ego comes down. And when your ego comes down, a wider realization comes in, then any criticism, anything, it will not hurt you. You are beyond that. And that's why, how do we remove the ego? And in Sun, our process is, we will do a team working. Develop a part of it. And there, normally we will teach them, if the success comes, it's for the team. If there is some difficulty, you take this one. Slowly, the ego down. So Seva Bhav is a first and foremost thing. Dr. Ji, when he started Sun, Seva was one of the primary important situations. And for a Karyakarta to become a sadhana, the sadhana, if you do sadhana, the sadhana is through this process of working as a team. And there are three things to be remembered. One is Suchita. Suchita is purity of thought, actions, thoughts, speech and actions. These three are important. They must be in congruence with each other. If you think something and your actions don't work, it's not Suchita. It's a very pure. All the mind and thoughts, action और बोलने में ये सब एक चीज होनी चाहिए. और जब ये चीज होती है तो कार्यकर्ता अपना आप raises himself. Suchita is very important. Then the next one is aparigra. Don't get attached to yourself. Eknath Rana used to say, Rana is one of the very highly, the one who founded Vietnam. He says a Karyakarta should be like a free air, like an air, freely going around. He can be placed anywhere and he is going to do Karya. He does not need to himself to say, I'm choosing, because he is an instrument. So the organization can put him anywhere and is ready to do the work. The choice doesn't come in there. And the third one is Anusasana. The organization can only progress if it has got a discipline. It has got an atmosphere where everybody works together. So three things are very important. Suchita, Aparigra and Anusasana for a Karyakarta to develop and raise these organizations high. Very, very important. Lastly, team building is very important. You collect a crowd. From the crowd, you create a group. Crowd can go anywhere. Crowd is just a gathering. But if you have a vision, you create a group out of that. The group can also be very unreliable. From the group, we create a team. That's the process. And I'm sure Hindu HYA has created this thing. I'm very extremely excited and I'm quite pleased that what we teach in Sun, I can see in my presence here, the Karyakarta, the whole role of Sun in Shaka is to create Karyakarta, socially conscious activists who will go where the need is. And today I am very proud to say, after 53 years of our Sun work in HSS in UK, we have got around 25 big and large organizations working in different fields in this country. The Karyakartas who have come out of Sun have taken up some field of work and they are progressing. One example is given, National Industrial Forum. In 1997, 98, I can't remember probably, there was a need that when our student goes into university, there is no Hindu atmosphere, no help. They get sucked up into all other kinds of activities. Some of them get converted. We felt there is a need for it. And our Karyakartas dedicated from National Industrial. Today is the largest student body, Hindu student body, which presents in almost 50 universities. So like that there is a Seva International. The building block of work. So that kind of activities our Swayansevaks do. HYA is one aspect, one part of that large. I was just talking to going by. Similar type of school is run in Manchester. Our Karyakartas doing on half-day Saturdays. Same thing is happening in Birmingham. So the outcome of our activity, Sun Shaka, is seen in the Samaj. And this is a presentation of what our Swayansevaks do it, but not necessarily one has to be a Swayansevak. Kanji Bhai gave a wonderful example.
of there are many Swayamsevak in Samaj who don't come to Shaka, but they are like that. And there are many Swayamsevak in Shaka who come, but they probably are not behaving as they should be. It's always like that. So there are many in the Samaj. I always say, pick up from the Samaj. A lot of people who want to give time, they don't get opportunity. And if you create activities, people will come. I'm very confident. And lastly, Kanti Bhai, of course, this is bubbly way in saying, is an energy, is a thunderbolt for me. But he mentioned about time management, and he spoke absolutely correct. If you have that vision, if you want to, sometimes doctors used to say, even Thanis used to say, the Karyakartas are sometimes told they are mad people. And he said, of course, one has to be a mad person to achieve a mission. You are always dreaming. And Dr. G's life, if you read it, you'll hear in tears. Even in his unconscious state, if you read his life, last year, even in his unconscious, he was talking of Hindu Rashtra, Hindu Sangathan. Even in when he's not conscious. That kind of thing he had in mind. When you get that kind of mission, then time is not affected at all. You adjust your time. And it's always say, it is only people who are lazy don't have time. For a man who is busy, he always finds the time to do it. And I'm very pleased. I congratulate the trustees and key people for taking this organization and become now one of the models, role models for the area here. One thing that I didn't hear, I missed out, and which you need to talk. Now, what are you going to do next? You have to upgrade it, upscale it. If you are satisfied with these classes are happening, then you will always remain there. You need to upscale it. Because as generations change, the needs change, outlook change, perceptions change. How we are going to fit in there? The trustees will have to look into that. The things are changing, and we have to look into it. How can we upscale ourselves? After 40 years, you don't remain again 5 class 8. Of course, you live, but you want to improve so that the alumni, your alumni who have gone through this, will be a part and progress in them. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I just want to say in today's function, special thanks to Ram Mandir for hosting and giving us this venue. Secondly, the lovely ladies who have volunteered to do all the cooking that we are about to taste after the Aarti upstairs we do. And thank you very much for your time for cooking for us. Thirdly, I would like to welcome officially to all the organizations, representatives of all the mandirs, whichever sanstha you have come from. Thank you very much for attending this function. And lastly, thank you very much for every single individual that have attended this program for today. Next, we will be going upstairs to do the Aarti. After the Aarti, we will do the Bhojan Mantra, come back down, and everybody, Prashad Rupi, Bhojan Lene, Badan Kare Jawab Chhe. Okay, everybody, we have dinner for everybody here. So please, if we make our way upstairs and then come down, we will enjoy the lovely meal that our ladies have made.
One of the questions that Rajasbhai asked me is, how do you get in touch with the Sansas organizations so that you can volunteer? So we've got a lot of Sansas here. So when I can say your Sansa, can you stand up so that people can then network with you during Bhojan time and elsewhere? So we've got the Sri Satsang Swami Mandir. Do you have representatives from the Mandir? No? Okay. Ramandir. They're upstairs doing bhajan and getting the Aarti ready for us. Okay. The British Hindu Mandir. There's a few of us I've seen. आप सब में हैं? Okay. Hindu Swayamsevak Sangh UK. I think that all the boys should be sent up for this one. Come on. Okay. Hindu Sevika Samiti. Special recognition. Vipulaji is a Karyavahika for the UK. Was. You still are for all of us. Okay. So basically heading up the Samiti UK. Okay. Your foundation. Oh, they've just gone upstairs. Seva UK. There's a few of you here from Seva UK. Come on. Everybody, yeah. Okay. Seva for youth. Seva for youth. Where's Ushibeng as well? I think she's, yeah. We've got hidden by there. And Ushibeng's around somewhere as well. There. Aruna Uday Tamil School. A lot of people ask me when we had the fun day, is there any music classes going on? This is the lady you need to speak to. Or Bharatanatyam, if you want to do traditional dancing. Bharat dancing, yes? National Students Forum UK. Early years Bharat. So we've got a special representative from Bharat and she's interested in early years learning. Okay, so if you want to start something up here or you want to actually exchange experiences and things. The Lion Club, which is run out from the community centre. So if you want to know what the Lion Club does.
So we're the Village Lions Club and we do Seva all over the world, not just in our community. It's not an Asian club, it's international, but we're the local one and we meet every Monday, every third Monday in the month at 8 o'clock at the community centre. And like I said, we serve all over the world rather than just locally.
So if you want to find out a bit more about the Lion Club, just go there.
एक आगे अपने लेडीज बाजू से एक आगे अपने जेंट्स बाजू से બધા સાથે મળી આપણે આર્થિક વિકાસ ભગવાન અને ધીરુભાઈ કરી ધીરુભાઈ લેસ્ટર થી વધારે છે તો એ વર્ષ कैसे तो प्रोफेशन આપણે જે જે પ્રોગ્રામ કે વાસ कैसे તો મહેરબાની કરી સાંભળજો અત્યારે આપણે ધીરુભાઈને બોલાવી છે મહેરબાની કરી ધીરુભાઈ આપણે ધન્યવાદ
ये तो इम्प्रॉम्प्टू है मुझे ख्याल नहीं था कहना है कुछ मैं खुद अपना परिचय देता हूँ मैं धीरज शाह मैं बर्मिंघम से आता हूँ हिंदू स्वयंसेवक संघ का संघ चालक मतलब प्रेसिडेंट और हमारा संघ का कार्यक्रम HSS UK का 53 ईयर 1966 में शुरू हुआ था 53 ईयर हो गया और आज कल करीब संघ समिति बालगोकुलम वगैरह होकर करीब 110 प्लस शाखाएं हैं राइट अक्रॉस 4 नेशंस ऑफ दिस कंट्री इंक्लूडिंग नॉर्दर्न आयरलैंड स्कॉटलैंड वेल्स सब जगह पर और अनेक कार्यक्रम होते हैं संघ की इंस्पिरेशन से हमारे इंस्पिरेशन से संघ के करीब 25 छोटे मोटे संगठन काम करते हैं एक एग्जाम्पल है नेशनल स्टूडेंट फोरम है अपने विश्व परिषद है सेवा इंटरनेशनल है इस प्रकार के अनेक छोटे मोटे विचार मंथन तो ये अपने स्वयंसेवक जो शाखा में जाते हैं बालगोकुलम समिति में तो वो जब निकलते हैं हर एक समाज में काम
प्रथम प्रहर की किरणें फैली, प्रथम प्रहर की किरणें फैली, जाग उठी भारती, धर्म सूर्य के रथ पर आ